Now, we see every single golfer who shoots 70s or below in this position here, the hands on top of the right leg at shaft parallel to the ground. Where we see golfers who shoot higher scores, 80s, 90s, even mid 70s, you'll see them here with the hands just outside that right leg. Now, why the hands on top of the right leg coming into delivery is so important, because it simplifies what you need to do going through the golf ball. If I'm here, shaft parallel to ground, hands on that right leg, all I need to do to get onto that golf ball and compress it, slightly turn the body. Just look at this. I'm just going to get it to shaft parallel. Now I'm just going to do a little turn. Look at the angles I just produced going through that. And I didn't try to get the hands forward. I didn't try to do any of that. It just happened, which is why you see so many of the top tour players strike the ball so unbelievably solid like they do. So this is a little bit more complicated than just trying to get the hands on top of the right leg, just physically trying to do it. So in theory, it might sound complicated, but actually in practice, it's actually quite easy to get, and nothing in your golf swing is going to improve you quite as fast as doing this. So ultimately, there's three key areas that you need to get in your golf swing to be able to have those hands on that right leg at shaft parallel for that easy compression. Having any one of these three movements in your swing is going to improve you massively. So number one, you need to shift your weight left. If you are not shifting your weight left, so not just your hips, we don't want to slide, as sliding will make your hands outside. We want to be shifting pressure along with our lower body and upper body. If we do that, you can see as soon as I get that pressure shifting, where do the hands go? They go on top of that right leg, maybe even more so on top of the ball. Now, that would really get you compressing it. That's where you'd hit your stinger shots from. So if we can get that body shifting and drifting with everything, side bend's what keeps that head nicely on the golf ball. So that's where we're not going to be in front of the ball like so. When you're shifting your body, getting upper body and lower body moving, you're going to be side bending naturally going through the golf ball, but it's going to get those hands going on top of that right leg. So getting that weight shift, as we can see here, if I just do a smooth and soft one, really emphasizing that weight shift, look where my hands go. So you can see there, those hands really gone into that great spot with me just emphasizing that absolute lateral shifting. Because why does that help so much? The simple term of it, where if we are having the hands here, they're further away from the target. If we're shifting closer to the target, which we're doing when we weight shift, we get closer to the target, where the hand's going to go in response as well. They're going to go more forward also. So that's where we don't want to slide. We just want a nice gradual pressure shift, which we're going to do a drill to train all this in. And then there we go. That's going to get us into a good spot. Weight shift. Number two, rotation. Absolute rotation, so important. If we rotate, we've got our weight shift and we start to turn, that's going to bring those hands and arms a little bit more in front of the pivot, not behind us. And that's then going to nicely get those hands on top of that right leg. So rotating prior to getting through to that ball, rotation will bring those hands a little bit more in front of you in that simple term. Just got to imagine swinging the club, rotating. It's going to follow my rotation. It's going to fall nicely in front. That's where best coach, in my opinion, of all time, Butch Harmon, talks about the importance of having the hands in front of you in that downswing. And he always talks about that in regards to rotation in the swing. Rotation brings the hands in control and in front. One of the key positions is that gets you hands on top of right leg at shaft parallel. So just making sure you're rotating, getting that little shift in there also, gets you that lovely position. And just hear those strikes, really nice and crisp. You've got to turn. Now, number three is your right arm. So many right arm videos here on YouTube. That's because right arm is incredibly important for the golf swing. Because if you are having that right arm naturally having this kind of driven in movement, like kind of Ben Hogan-esque, where it's coming and getting more connected to your side as you move down that downswing, what's that doing? That's getting the hands and arms a little bit more forward towards the target. That's going to get that right arm nicely, or those hands there, nicely on that right leg there. To where if my right arm is disconnected away from me, it's moved behind. So whether that's someone who's lawnmowered it in the backswing, got that right shoulder moving internal rotation, which that will immediately, if it stays there, create a gap in that downswing between the body and arms. Where the arm's going to be now, the hand's going to be behind. I'll have to throw and I'll have to flip. So that's where, if we can get that right arm nicely connected and driven in, where we're going to get to? We're going to get to here. And then we can just turn, and then we're going to have that nice compression every single time. So what is it? It's a blend of movements, of course. Shifting, rotation, right arm coming in. So might think, absolutely, how on earth am I going to do all those? How am I going to think of all those at once? We don't have to. That's where we're going to do a drill here, which you're going to train whilst you practice. And you can do this as a pre-shot routine also. That's going to get all these elements nice and easily into your swing. So, okay, what is the drill? pump drill. So pump drills are brilliant for this because what pump drill does, it gets you into a certain position in the downswing and you add a little bit of dynamic movement, you put a little bit of energy in the system and then it repeats getting into that same position that you're repping. So let's have a look here. So I want to get, as we know, shaft parallel to the ground, hands are on the right leg. But how do we get there? We get there via right arm, being nicely connected to the side there. We don't want to keep it necessarily pinned the whole time. We'd want it to be driven in, hips rotated, absolutely. So I'd want those hips to be just a little bit open to the golf ball. You can see where's my belt buckle pointing, it's pointing in front. Where's my chest? Just slightly in front of where it's pointing in its rotation. Where's my weight? Massively on that left side. I really want to feel at least 90% of my weight in that left side. And that's our position there. So then what we do, we pump up, 1, 2. So you can see I'm just returning myself back to that position for a bunch of shots. Where my hands going? If anything, they're going almost on top of the ball, exaggerating it more. 2, and on the third one, we swing through. So we're letting that body go back and up, repeating our positions. Right arm's driving in, left hip's going back, and I'm getting that body drifting towards a target. And on that third one, after I repeat that, I hit through. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. So you see this kind of like real isolated movement going through the golf ball, even that real extended post impact there. And that's where we're going to be getting really nice quality repetitions every single time. This is really good. Ultimately, could be also called a self-organization drill. So if we do another one, we'll explain that. So third one, 2, there we go. Awesome striking. So self-organization drill, what is that? That is making a specific movement to where you're repeating it enough in a later portion of the swing, like downswing, coming into the golf ball, so impact area here. And because your body is moving dynamically, getting into some specific positions there, if you do enough repetitions, what the body will start to do, it will start to piece together the rest of the golf swing for you. This is what me and my coach did a lot with working on my own golf swing. We worked a lot on self-organization drills, getting me doing things through impact and that helping me piece together other areas naturally in that subconscious. So if you put in enough repetitions here, your body will start to think, okay, for me to repeat that position that you've been doing all the time in practice, this will be better for you to do in the backswing, then this will be better. Your body will piece it all together. Just like how, for example's sake, people have an open club face. How their body learns to square it up is via early release. They're not physically trying to do that, are they? Their body will just do that, early release to square up the club face. That's self-organization. We're just reverse engineering it. We're getting to where we want to be and let the body react from there. So let's do one more. 1, 2, 3. Really nice turn through there. That gives us the feel. And of course, rep that as much as you can in practice and then do a few swings, nice and soft though, of feeling those exact same movements that we just did. And then go straight back to practicing. So what I would recommend you do, let's say you're hitting balls, let's say you're hitting 100 balls, for example, on a practice session. Don't have to hit 100 balls, you can hit far less than that to have a good productive practice session. But I would recommend you to do, really around minimum 90 balls in your practice session doing that drill. We could do it of all clubs. Driver, just have it a little bit more out the middle. You still want to get a little bit of compression on driver. You want to lower that spin loft. That'll help you hit those high, long bombs. But absolutely, we want to do that a ton. So pretty much all clubs, absolutely 90 balls at least out of the 100. If we can do that, and we can do that for a good substantial period of time, if you're someone who really struggles to compress it, I'd want to see you do it for a minimum of 3 months. Every single practice session, so you do 3 practice sessions a week, do it, structure it just like that, and you will be compressing it after those 3 months. A lot of the reason why players don't make their changes is not because they're working on the wrong thing. Quite often players are working on the right thing. It's just not knowing at how much of a repetition you need to do in practice to get there. Ultimately, to really own a movement, you need to do the repetitions around 10,000 times to own it. So that's where get practicing and you'll get there too. So you'll be able to copy those positions, and it doesn't matter if you're an 80s or 90s golfer, if you copy those positions, you're going to be playing a hell of a lot better golf. So this isn't just for players trying to break into shooting in the 60s, absolutely not. It's going to help everyone. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button if you want more golf instruction, just like this. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.